Welcome to Second Class Cinema, the show where we would normally watch a B movie and immediately discuss, but today we have a very special episode because we interviewed Mathew Karedas, none other than the Samurai Cop.
We sure did.
And I'm Tom, and I'm here
you don't
with
even
Brittany
want
and
to
Eric.
introduce us.
Hi. Might still be a little bit starstruck, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, no, that was we just conducted an interview with Mathew Karedas,
Samurai Cop himself.
of Samurai Cop fame, and we talked a lot about the original Samurai Cop. We talked about Samurai Cop 2: Deadly Vengeance. We just talked about basically his
whole personal involvement with these movies.
Yeah.
He was kind enough to listen to our podcast and then offered to come on and talk to us about the multitude of questions we had about the production of Samurai Cop 2.
Because Samurai Cop 1 is a very important movie to us. We love it. We admire it. And we watched Samurai Cop 2, and it did not get favorable reviews on here, which is what made me slightly nervous about having this conversation with him.
He was very middle of the road.
It was very, yeah. We ended up, we split the room when we did the ratings for that. So to have him come on and want to talk to us and kind of, answer our questions was absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
And very enlightening. I think there's a ton of things in this episode that we never would have ever guessed went on in Samurai Cop 2 behind the scenes. It was really just fascinating to hear him talk about everything that was going on. That there's no way we would have ever figured out these things happened.
No.
Yeah.
It answered so many questions.
Yeah.
And I feel like he got a little bit off his chest about this. I feel like most of the items I've heard him talk about were pre this release, and I don't know how early on we are to talk about him post release here. But I thought he divulged some good amount of information that I think would be useful to anyone who's a fan of Samurai Cop.
Definitely.
All right, so without further ado, we're gonna go on and we'll play the Samurai Cop Mathew Karedas interview.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Who do we have today?
I'm Tom.
Brittany?
Tom's there.
Eric.
Oh, Brittany. I can't. Brittany said my tan looked like a Doritos tan. I can't believe it.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, you're absolutely correct. I don't know if it was Amir's lack of coloring for the film or if I really was that tan.
I'm willing to bet you were pretty tan and the quality of the DVD we watched was not
I
stellar.
think I was like way over tan, like an Oompa Loompa, so you were dead off. That's why I love these reviews, because they're saying the same thing I think.
Oh,
No, because I listened to all you guys. I didn't know if Tyler was going to be there. Brittany, I know Ashley. Was she on the first one?
Ashley was on the first one, but
Way back, 50 episodes. That was definitely
yeah, that was early for us. This is a movie we've been watching for a while.
And what about who's the guy that came in late? Not Eric. There's another guy that did Samurai Cop 2 that said, "I will never watch this goddamn movie."
That was Tyler.
That was Tyler.
That was Tyler. Unfortunately, he really did want to make it, but unfortunately, he could not.
No, that's fine. Yeah, and I apologize for last week. I just got slammed with work, and there's like no way I could have.
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, let's. I guess let's just start with how So you're the Samurai Cop, and so how did that come to be for you originally?
Absolutely. Yeah, I had originally met Amir because one of the bodyguards that worked with me with Stallone when I worked for him, Voyo Gorick, had told me, you should go see this filmmaker named Amir Shirvan. He does low-budget movies, and maybe you could start, getting some tape as an actor. So I went into his office and met him just clearly from that reference, that referral. And then right when I walked in, he just sat behind his desk, little portly man, and he said, "You are the star of my film." And I was just like, man, this is awesome. Thanks, Boyle. And because he said, oh, the guy pays really well. Because I think Boyle worked 2 days, got maybe $450 a day.
Oh.
Turns out I was getting, $70 a day plus a Big Mac or whatever. I said, Amir, I don't eat that. But I brought my own food to set. But so yeah, that's basically what it was. And then he said, "This is kind of a Lethal Weapon movie I'm doing here, and we start in like 4 days. Go ahead and read the script. Anything you think you want to change, I have no problem." Which was bullshit. And that was it. And then, yeah, we just started shooting, and then slowly it became quite clear to everybody we were fucked. That's why I think it's funny when you guys a review or anybody, and the things that you guys notice and bring up, I hope that no one thinks for 1 second that we weren't all doing the same thing first 25 years ago going, is he really going to say cut my gift or what? All that. We constantly were just like, oh my God, I can't do this, or I can't let somebody see me in that. But anyway, we finished out of respect to Amir. We just kept going, even though we knew like 3-4 days in, like, oh my God, this is going to be horrible. And that's why I've said, and I know you guys said a couple scenes, like when I'm in the office doing that monologue, I hadn't cut my hair yet there, so I wasn't that mode yet where I was just so pissed off I was doing this whole thing in a wig. But what I was Amir called us back because principal photography started June of 90. And then we finished, and it was like maybe shoot 3 days, then 2 weeks off, and then Amir would get some more money, call us. And then around November, we finished. He said, oh, we're done, but I have a few pickup shots that we'll do. So we did that. And then he said, all right, I'll call you when the movie's done. And it wasn't until January 91 that he called me back in the office. I had cut my hair, and then he flipped out. And then we started filming all the other bullshit through February. But in that office scene, when he called me in, he says, I need to shoot a reverse angle now of you in the restaurant. We didn't do it that day. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I've got the fucking grandma pictures behind me. I'm literally in one of his rooms. It was a house that he lived in that he made an office. And it's like a 4x4 room, and I'm talking to a lamp. And I'm just so fucking irritated. Like, I can't believe we didn't do this a long time ago. And, so I just thought, how is this continuity going to match everything like you guys talk about? We were all thinking the same thing. This isn't going to match. Why? But it was his, his disaster. But anyway. These are the things that we went through.
It's always interesting to hear what goes on set because we seriously ponder that severely with every movie we watch.
But I can't, you know what I mean? I've done interviews, and you always want to just reach out and say, no, it was because of this. But after a certain point, and I was worried about that when I came back to life, and my daughter said, oh, just tell everybody what happened. I said, will I take away some of the magic or, what's behind the curtain with the great and powerful Oz? If I start saying, oh, it's because of this, would it make the movie less funny or interesting? And it really didn't. It just enhanced, I guess, because people go, oh my God, that's even wilder than we thought, or,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, it's really awesome hearing you talk about Samurai Cop and everything. We really do appreciate you coming on here and doing this for us.
Definitely.
No, absolutely. I don't mind. Like I said, it's fun. It's fun for me to kind of like I said, so many fans out there had so many questions, and it's nice to answer. Because Mark can't remember anything. He's like, man, I don't even remember what we did, man. And how do you remember? I go, because that nightmare just stayed with me. Never thought this movie would get released, and here it is, this cult classic. How the hell did that happen?
Oh, man. Very, very enjoyable movie. So in between Samurai Cop 1 and 2 now, so how did you get tied up into getting involved with the second?
Again, that was me from a distance when YouTube came to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
I started seeing clips. I just, for a joy, my daughter would say, oh, there's all kinds of stuff on YouTube or IMDb. And I would, just for the hell of it, put in Samurai Cop or American Revenge, because those were the two movies that I had done. And just to see if anything popped up. And then there was always the blurbs, the comments, and the horny nurse scene. And I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. And I'd read all the comments, and I just thought, this is great. And then when I realized on IMDb the guy named Matt Hannon died, and everybody thought that was me, I just kind of thought, oh, that's cool. Everybody thinks I'm dead, so I don't even have to worry. Because, I changed my name legally to Karedas, Mathew Karedas, in 94, just, for purposes of acting. I just thought, let me get more of an ethnic name, blah, blah, blah. But not knowing, that Samurai Cop was floating around out there and slowly gaining this audience. So I wasn't trying to hide from it. But so, yeah, it was just one of those that it just slowly started to unravel. And my daughter says, you should go on and YouTube now. You can post 5-minute videos. You should just do a series of, comments and explain what went on. I think people would think that was interesting. And I just kept putting it off. And then finally I put up the camera here in my house, and I was doing a little test video, because I did that, like I said, with my daughter on my comedy routines. I used to do something and send it to her and go, hey, is this funny? Do you get this? So same premise there. But, I had my shirt off, and it's just me kicking around the house like I am now. And when I sent it to her, she just thought, my dad will procrastinate again and never do this, so I'm just going to put it out there and let everybody know he's alive. And then that's when the whole world blew up with, oh, my God, it's the second coming of Christ. He's here. He's not dead. And I was just like, what the hell? I had no idea that was that grand of a fan base out there, and it just really overwhelmed. And I was like, holy shit. And that's what made me want to do the sequel, I think, once Greg Hatanaka got a hold of me.
So Greg got a hold of you right after, you had come out and said, I'm alive. And
yeah. It was posted on, all over. And then each little clique of fans have their own, fan base, and then it just spread, like the telephone game. And it just really quick, like I said, I had my iPhone that I'm talking to you on now just started blowing up with emails, 300 or 400 inbound. And I'm like, what the fuck is it? It just drove me nuts. And I was like, I didn't realize it. But then he said, I've got to meet you. I've got to have lunch with you. You got to. So that's when I sat down with him, and then he explained that he wanted to make a sequel, or he was already thinking about making a sequel like a year earlier with Mark Frazier. And like you guys had touched base, it was supposed to be Mark and Joe Marshall's daughter kind of go find out who killed Samurai Cop or something, ridiculous like that. And Greg basically was a huge fan. He has his own distribution company, Cineridge Films and Cinema Epoch. So he's just a fanatic about Samurai Cop like most everybody else out there. But he just, like I've said now, he had the balls and the stupidity to say, I think I want to make a sequel. And that's why, even though the movie is a fucking disaster, I still really hold in high regard. He at least tried, but had no idea the tsunami of a disaster that was coming his way, just based off of his enthusiasm of, this is going to be great, And I mean, I can, get into more. I've never talked about it, and I don't mind doing it now, but a little bit more whenever you guys are ready, as far as what really started the ball rolling and how this all went. But if you want to go first with Samurai Cop stuff, that's fine, and then we can pick up there, I guess, later. But
I do just want to know how totally bizarre it was for you to realize how big of a cult classic this movie became.
Well, yeah, it was shocking because, I mean, I work in the industry here in Southern California. I'm a foreman in a union. I'm kind of a liaison with union members, and I hire union guys to work these trade shows. And obviously Comic-Con is one of our shows that we do, and I've done like WonderCon and BlizzCon. So I already kind of knew in the YouTube conventions that there's these pockets of fans out there that love certain things that aren't for the general public. So I kind of knew about it, but I never thought I would be part of that, because I never really had anybody come up and say, hey, weren't you ever in this movie? It really started right after I came and we were doing the sequel, and it got such massive publicity everywhere. But I just was shocked. I can't believe. And then to hear from people across the world in different countries. I mean, when I was just in Spain, there was a guy who goes, dude, I live in Uganda. You have no idea. You're a god. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, people came from miles in a village to sit on a dirt floor under a tent to watch the DVD Blu-ray of Samurai Cop 2. They just think you're a legend. And I said, do they not have media or television? And he says, no, really, they don't know if this is current day or if it's, they're that far. It just blows me away. I don't know if you guys are knowing that there's a YouTube thing called Who Killed Captain Alex?
Yes, we have seen the trailers for that.
Right. So this is the guy that lives there, and he gave up. He left New York to go live with these guys to teach them how to make films. But that's who he was talking about. That group of guys, he just said, you have no idea. They just love watching your action movie. And I'm just like, oh, my God. So I didn't realize the magnitude. And it just every day, it's still, even as I just traveled Spain and UK, the reception I got there and the countries was just like overwhelming. So yeah, it's still just kind of surreal. And even it's 2 years later almost when I came alive and came back to this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I know the first time we watched this movie, we watched it pretty much 3 times in one night. The Samurai Guy, we just kept it going. We just didn't stop.
Yeah.
But if we want to get down to brass tacks here with the Samurai Cop 2 Deadly Vengeance stuff, a quick question would be, so, what stage were they in with the script writing process when you came on board, and how much did it change after?
They originally, Greg had met, Mark flew out, and they had the screening a year before I, came back alive in whatever year that was, 2014, I guess, or whatever. And Greg, it was a sold out. It was a midnight showing, 800 seats, just sold out. And Greg's like, oh my God, I didn't ever realize this really has a huge fan base. You're the only one still alive, Mark. We should do a sequel. And at that time, and this is what I've never discussed or nobody, but I think it's fair that it gets out there. Mark had represented that he had a couple $100,000 from his retirement or investment, something going on that was coming in, and he would gladly put that up if Greg wanted to partner up with him and make a sequel.
Wow. Okay.
So that already starts getting Greg going, oh, okay, that's a shitload of money. I could probably put in another, 50 or 100,000, and yeah, this could be cool. So they're slowly trying to develop the idea. Never really wrote a script yet. So fast forward to June, I come back alive. Greg flips out. I got to meet you. As soon as I come on board, it's now fast track of this is what we're going to do. I've got another 50 grand somebody's going to put up, and then Mark's got some money coming, and maybe we'll do a Kickstarter and raise a little extra, and we'll use that for CGI. Obviously, no, that wasn't. So then it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. So he starts to write, and when I sat with him, I said, I would really love to do something Starsky and Hutch like, where it's just kind of goofy. Here we are, just bumbling cops again, make it funny, have her. He didn't think that. He thought, no, this is going to be more this and that, and and I'm thinking, oh, all right, I guess. Let me see what you can come up with writing the script. So. He writes a couple drafts, and now we're in July, August. The Kickstarter, he gets going. That obviously brings in more money than the 50. It brings us 64. So now he's thinking, we got a good chunk of money. We're just waiting now for Mark, his investment. Mark kept saying, it's the next month. Oh, it's next month. So then I start to question, wait a minute, what the fuck? So I sit down with Mark. I start to talk with him. And my impression is he's involved in some hokey, dreamlike Ponzi thing. And I'm like, holy fuck, are you serious? He's pissed. Even still to this day, 2 years later, he still thinks his money's coming.
Oh, no.
I go and talk to Greg. I go, listen, I don't know what you're waiting for and trying to figure out a start date, but I'm telling you, Mark ain't got shit. And Greg's like, holy fuck, now what am I going to do? So big budget just dropped even lower. We've got the Kickstarter money, and that, you have to give a little chunk back to Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. So Greg starts writing the script. He has a draft, and now it's like, okay, let me start looking for places that we can film. And so he started finding stages that we could shoot on, and he's got this elaborate story. I'm reading the draft, and I'm thinking, okay, this should be good. So comes time, it's December. Greg still really doesn't have enough in his pocket that what's on the page. I didn't know this. I'm just thinking, all right, I guess you know what you're doing. I'm just coming. I'm happy to do a sequel and try to do better acting. That didn't happen. So and then all of a sudden, it's just from day 3, it just all went to shit. He's like, oh, we can't afford to do this part here. We have to cut this out and this out. So what do you want to do? Well, I was thinking maybe we'll change Caden's character. Now she does this, she does that. Day 5. I don't know if Tommy's going to show up. I know he said he was, but I don't know. Well, we wrote this big part. Well, let's change this to make this and blah, blah, blah. So this is what starts unfolding. And that's why I said it's like the unintentional copy of what Amir did. And I'm thinking, how the fuck did I step into that? But I say that in a loving manner, but I really want people to know in the context of what the final product was. I give nothing. I mean, Greg Hatanaka got caught up in a tsunami of excitement, anticipation, and the wave just starts coming in, and then slowly he began to drown without having money. So it's like, you can't quit. We've got crowdfunding people that have put in money. The world is waiting. So poor Greg has now gone from this sweet, humble filmmaker, like independent distributor and he made a couple little small movies, like, holy shit. Mm-hmm. He starts, getting money from here and there, just piecing this thing together. And, we shot probably 5 different scripts. So visually you guys see a lot of cool things, but none of them go together. Yeah.
Did feel a little disjointed there.
Absolutely. And so we're sitting in rough cuts. I see the first one. I'm like, holy fuck, what is this? What are we going to do? And Greg's like, I don't know. So that's why I said we really tried to take whatever shit we had and piece it together. And I think in the end, this is really a story towards anybody wanting to make a movie. This is really what could happen. You got to plan shit out. You have to stick to scripts. Like you guys said, why the fuck wouldn't you just go in the woods with the camera and shoot a scene? Because you guys were right. He actually had one day in front of a green screen. And what he realized was, oh, my God, this chick paid X amount of dollars to be in the movie with you. Let me just have you go in front of the green screen and you fight with her, and I'll figure out something to put in the back. So that's what you saw. And the guy that he hired with $4.62 left in his pocket, I know how to do green screen, or I got the perfect plate. It's like, holy shit, really? So Greg and I just started doing like you guys, like, oh, my God, what are we going to do? He's like, well, it is Samurai Cop. I guess, whatever. So you really start to compromise your artistic integrity, and that's basically how it all, even down to the guy that did CGI. I mean, he was the guy we could afford. He was dropping acid 90% of the time. I mean, when I saw the blood pouring out, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
That's amazing.
Kind of funny, isn't it? I go, no, but if we're already this far off the cliff, I guess what the hell? So you know what I mean? And I think when we get the documentary out of the making of the movie, hopefully, and I haven't seen any of the 300 hours of footage, hopefully that could be the story of this is why this became our own disaster. I hate being the Greg Sesteros to Tommy Wiseau's room with Greg. I'd love for him to talk, but he's so shy and he'll never divulge all this. And I go, you can't let people think this is what your vision was. You gotta speak up. So anyway, I mean, that's kind of how it all unraveled. And it's just really lack of funding and just trying to claw your way to a release date and to get this finished. And I know we've had some response where people go, I love it. It's a fucking horrible piece of shit. You know what I mean? But we really were trying to come up, and Greg was especially, a good sequel and do a little bit of winks to the old one, but not, you know, like you guys said, either commit or don't commit. And it's like we just accidentally had to take a scene for whatever. All right, this falls in the category of we're going to try to commit. This one's not, you know, but you know, you guys have been on point with everything you said, but I just feel so protective of Greg. I'm like, you got to tell him what the circumstances were. And he's like, nah, it doesn't matter.
No, it's awesome that you guys can be so candid about it, because I think people really do want to know.
That's what I think the joy is. The fun is, you know, if everybody thinks they can make a movie, but I mean, this was really kind of bigger than he really realized, and you get stuck in it and you can't just quit. I mean, most people would say we ran out of money, we couldn't finish, but so that's, you know, that's why I said, well, it's better than nothing, and it's okay. Even with the music, I couldn't imagine. You can't imagine how much music is. It's so expensive. Oh, this song's great. Well, that's $6,000. It's like, what? How are we gonna, you know? And then you end up with whatever we ended up with. So
I commend him for finishing it anyway.
Yeah. I'm actually very curious to rewatch this with all this in mind and with this in context.
Yeah, but that's not. I know. I mean, that's what I said. Maybe you take a different spin on it, but I mean, that's why I really think the making of might help, or if people think that's fun, because I love watching what goes on behind the scenes in movies, even in my real life. So I just thought, I mean, to hear, you know, we don't know if Tommy's going to show up, and then just to see the footage of Tommy behind the scenes where he just couldn't remember his lines at all, and Greg literally starts throwing lines to him, because I said, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to waste the whole day here and get kicked off the set. You say the line, take a beat, and Tommy, you repeat it. And I said, later in editing, Greg, you're just going to have to take your voice out. And that's the only way we're going to get through this fucking day. So
man.
Some of the lines that Tommy says were what Greg said. Some of them were, we have no idea what Tommy said. But a lot of the lines that if you guys really listen, I guess Greg, being the film aficionado, was throwing out Cassavetes lines from famous movies. Love is Blind. I mean, all that shit that Tommy's saying. You know what I mean? So that's what makes it funny. But like I said, that's completely a separate issue than watching the movie for a movie. So I'm giving you all these things that now make it interesting, but I don't know if that's still entertaining for everybody.
Well, yeah, it can be. And I when you had messaged me about the movie, you described Greg as having, you know, tenacity about it, and I can always respect someone who can take a movie all the way to the end and get something into my Blu-ray player. Which is great.
But it's nice to know how. But yeah, that's what I said. I really think, I mean, really, seriously, the financial, I mean, the guy never, I don't know if you guys can picture yourselves getting involved in a project and then you're just so passionate, you're going to do whatever you got to do to finish, but you never realize, holy shit, if I would have known that, I never would have started. And that's why you said. So I love him for that. And again, even for me at 50 years old, having a chance to do a sequel to a movie, I just like I was thankful for Amir, even though that became what it became, it's still a blessing. There's guys that come to this town and never get a speaking part ever. And I could say, you know, I did 2 movies and one of them, it didn't get lost on the shelf at Blockbuster. It became a cult. So, you know, it is kind of a gift. And I've learned to be humble instead of that first recording where I said, what a fucking retarded movie. Because I didn't realize. And now I have a little bit more appreciation for this genre, for you guys, people that love the Grindhouse and because it's a fun clique. I've never met more fun fans, and you know what I mean. So it is awesome to be involved in now.
Yeah, this stuff's a blast. But do you think like the major crippling factor of the movie was just the constantly shrinking scope? Like, I'm assuming a lot of, you know, integral stuff to the original idea got cut like really fast. And do you think, obviously, even with the budget, that this movie would have gotten to where he wanted it to? Like,
I really think the biggest problem was the money. The second part was Caden's character. Well, first of all, Janice Farley, we found her, and she wanted nothing to do with. She's the one that plays Jennifer in the first movie, the one I meet in church, and I do that long, disgusting love scene with her. She was beautiful. I don't mean her. But she was obviously married now, and she has children, and she just said, I don't even want. And I said, you were really a good actress. It has nothing to do with. But I think the nudity, perhaps, you know what I mean? I don't know. She's maybe a different woman now and has friends and doesn't want anybody to know. So she has legally changed her name, not because of the movie, but so she could remain anonymous out there. But she just said, Matt, I can't come back. So we, Greg had the idea. I think he took it from Rear Window, the Jimmy Stewart, where he thinks he sees his dead wife. Something. I mean, again, I don't know these references that he used, but it was supposed to be Jennifer in the wig, and then originally she was a police detective from New York. That storyline got thrown out. So eventually her character really became nothing, and it was just like, even Caden was like, what am I doing here? And I really think Caden, I know she's in the adult industry, I really think she's a talented actress. And a lot of people are like, what are you talking? But she was frustrated because she didn't get to do anything in this movie, but she really has a little magic on the screen. And again, I didn't know any of these girls. Lexi Bell, I didn't know Caden was in the industry. Apparently Greg brought all these people in because he thought, it'll help add to funding and we'll bring a different fan base from this group, that group. I personally wouldn't have wanted all that. I really wanted it to be a buddy cop action, kind of really what the heart of the first one was just Mark and I, because our chemistry just instantly clicked again after not seeing each other for 25 years. But I think that was the major factor was the money. And then the problems that just, came up after that. There was a lot of the reshoots, the scene in the cave where Mark and I have that scene where I say, that wasn't there. It cut from, he comes to my hideout, I fight the ninjas, he shoots them all in the corner. And then we were on the plane and I go, Greg, this is bullshit. We have to have Mark fly back out. I need to. And I wrote the scene. I said, Joe, Mr. Thespian here, Joe needs motivation to come out of this reclusive lifestyle to come back. So as you guys love the Deadly Vengeance reference, I thought, let me write this in. You can rain down your deadly vengeance. But I really wrote that scene so that Mark and I could give the audience a bonding moment. It's typical cliche bullshit. But I mean, these are the things that I started to help Greg piece back and said, we have to make this story somehow. We have to explain, why is he seeing Jennifer, and he came up with he's getting poisoned slowly, or you know what I mean. So it just becomes a bandage of a movie, and we started throwing things together, which you guys were like, I don't get. Is he a flashback on TV? And that was supposed to be anytime I'm watching the TV, that's the hallucinogenic, and I'm seeing myself on TV, but not knowing it's in myself. I guess I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Makes a little more sense.
It just becomes, like I said, this drug trip for everybody. And that's why some people go, it was just crazy. I just love watching it. So at one respect, it worked. But on another, if you're trying to make a good movie, it completely failed. So yeah,
I that was definitely a standout scene for us. And so you were also credited as a producer on this. And so beyond doing, writing that scene and interjecting in that way, what else kind of did you contribute to the movie? And at what points?
I think the main thing was when I met with Greg, my daughter had just graduated film school, and I said, look, I'll come on board, but I really want her to be on as a producer also. And she plays the scene in that bar where she says, are you my daddy? That's really my daughter.
Oh, that's awesome.
And what happened that day, the girl that was supposed to show up is an older lady. It was a completely different scene. We rewrote all that, and then we just said, okay, you come in. I go, this will be funny, Peggy. You pretend like, we'll make a reference like maybe you and I had a kid. I didn't know. But, the looks and all that crap. Sometimes we went, like you said, over the top. The black gift stuff, that was Mark just, we got to do a joke about the black gift. And I'm like, no, this is too obvious. And he really cut the scene down because I think Mark orders a vodka, and then that Joselito comes back and he says, the sponsor of your vodka is giving, so here's a gift. But I think Greg edited it down, and all of a sudden he just hands him a box and says, here's a gift for you. And I'm like, this doesn't fucking make sense. So, there's just weird stuff that goes on, but that's just the piecing of I thought the same thing. How the fuck am I on a plane that blows up? What do you I go, could we at least do this? How about we do a voiceover? And the pilot says, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be on the tarmac for about another 20 minutes. Please stand by. We're going to set some refreshments. Something like that. Voiceover, it's bullshit. It's telling a story, but at least it's not really on a plane where a fucking massive explosion. And I said, and where is everybody going out the back of the plane? It's still in the air. And he's just laughing like, I guess, I don't know. You know, he's caught up in the, oh my God, my movie's just fucking falling apart. And he doesn't care. So these are just, like I said, funny things. We shot on that plane set because it was there, and he goes, hey, we should do a scene on an airplane. So this is how things just come up. They weren't written. They weren't in the script. And it's just, you know, he just thought, well, this is a cool set. Let's use it while we can. It's free.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's what I think people should, I guess, know. And I hope he has the original draft. I said, you should release that sometime to let people see what we really wanted to do. That beginning opening scene and the intergalactic treaty that you guys made reference to, we really were supposed to be in space. It was a space movie. And I was like, what the fuck are we doing in space? He goes, well, we got this cool set. And it's a space set, but it's really cheap, and we're going to film. I go, yeah, but what are we in fucking space? I go, Greg, seriously, what's going on? And I just was flipping out. And I kept arguing with him through the whole shoot. Please just let me have one shot where we walk outside and I say something like, I can't believe who would have a hideout in an old abandoned movie set of a space. Something. I go, you can't let people think we're in space and teleporting. I go, it just doesn't make sense. So that was the third script idea that just fell short. So we did have the footage shot, and then we ended up trying to turn it into, quote, the complex. I go, let's make it this top secret, because otherwise it looks weird. You know, why is it? But it's not top secret because, you know, Mark travels, 400 miles in the desert to find it. Yeah. But if you guys see at the very end of the movie, when we walk out, we're in a fucking alley in Pacoima, California. And the reason we had to shoot that was just like Amir. We don't have anywhere. We can't go back to the location. We don't have the stage anymore. So let's just end the I go, how the fuck are we going to end the movie in a fucking alley in a suburban neighborhood? You said we traveled 400 miles to this top secret. So we're all in it with you guys. And we're just like, I don't know. We just got to finish the movie. We need to get a cliche 90s in. We can shoot it on 35 mil. But, you know, I mean, so hopefully all that's in the documentary. I just don't know. But there were constant arguments or bewilderment on my behalf. And Mark's going like, I can't believe we're doing this. What happened? We're doing the same thing.
That's awesome.
During the post-production process, during the editing, were you watching like rough cuts as you guys were going and then like trying to figure out what you could add or something like that?
Yeah, it was all Greg. Like I said, there was no, I know you guys made reference, like, what's with the shitty music? Didn't the music coordinator, I'm like, music coordinator? There was no It's Greg Hatanaka wore about 12 hats on this. When we finished filming, it was all Greg, editing on his computer, doing, you know, dubbing, voiceover, whatever. I mean, Greg was in charge of marketing. Greg was in charge of getting more money. He, you know, advertising, posters, flyer. So the poor guy, like I said, just became consumed with it. But when I first saw the first rough cut, there was about 8 of us that came and watched it, and we gave notes. And then it was up to Greg to go back in, and I'd say, don't we remember? I thought we filmed this. What if we tried to do that? Get rid of this, do that. And that's what really went on from maybe January through, God, almost up to the premiere. I think we had. And we just didn't have money. He didn't have any money left to film anything. And it's like, but we have to fly Mark out. I don't have any money for a plane. And Mark lives clear in Florida. And I'm like, I'll pay. Let's just get him out here. It's just important. We got to try. But all that green screen with the guy, you know, walking and it's supposed to be Tokyo. We did laugh. We just went, oh my God, this is fucking ridiculous. He looks like Godzilla. Walking amongst Japanese. He goes, I know, but the guy told me it wouldn't look like this. So he'd spent the money and it's just like, fuck it, we got to use it. And I'm just thinking, oh my God. So post-production was just Greg really on his own. Trying to, you know, he always felt like, I feel so bad, Matt. I let you guys. I'm like, no, I don't. It is what it is, Greg. This is fine. I'm glad that we're doing this. I think they'll enjoy it. I mean, I'm being too hard because I'm a perfectionist even in my own life. And I'm like, I would never have gotten involved in this had I known it was going to be this. But I said, in the vein of Amir, I think he's looking down on you going, it ain't going to be that easy, pal. The same shit that I went through. But so, yeah, a lot of that post was Greg. And then after we got what we thought was a lock print, then we just started intermixing music. And he was using music that was awesome. But like I said, he's going, I tried to contact the guy. He wants $15,000. And I'm like, holy shit. Ugh. But some of that orchestration music, the Blu-ray music is different than the theatrical because we got away with, well, let's keep doing it until someone gets ready to sue us. And then we said, all right, well, we have to put on the Blu-ray something that we can afford. And some of these titles and music were obscure Polish, and they're like, oh, I want $2,000. And it's like, come on, dude, no one even knows who you are. And so, yeah, it was just piecing it together day after day. Poor Greg sitting there just trying to get the thing together until he finally got it, the release date. But yeah, a lot of that was just all done with Greg.
Wow.
I'm like driving the bus right over him. Like, no, I don't mean to, but like I said, he'll never come forward. He's so shy. But I think people really got to know Greg. But yeah, you know what I mean? I just think in the context, he's still a great guy. I really appreciate, like I said, he's the only guy that said, everyone talked about, oh, there should be a sequel, but he really went forward and did it, and just, this is what it came up with. And there has been, like I said, great response, so I don't want to keep making it that negative, but I'm having fun poking at it.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to watch that documentary. That's going to be super interesting.
Well, yeah, I hope. I haven't even seen it. He wants to meet with me this week, and maybe the guy that's been editing it. Because I said, you and I can't be involved, Greg, because you're going to want to, oh, don't show that. And I think those are maybe things that people should see. The arguments about money or certain cast members, in quotes, being so fucking difficult. And, it was a non-union film, so you can't call their agent and go, look, get your client straight or you're going to fucking get fined and blah, blah. So we didn't have that luxury. And most of everybody that was involved filming did it for free through the passion. These guys that are grips that usually work for $800 a day just said, oh, my God, I totally know this movie. I want to just work on it for free. I don't care. Just don't put my name on it. But I'll work on it. So, you know what I mean? We had a lot of that going on. But there's just a lot of stuff that went on.
So it was just like a labor of love. Everyone just got it done.
We're all but eventually, you do have to pay for certain things, camera and locations. I mean, so and it just adds up so quickly. Tommy's wardrobe. Tommy, I want the costume or I'm not showing up.
Oh my God, I have to ask.
You said the fucking Hamburglar outfit. What he got? I use that in London. I go, someone said he was like a retarded drunk hamburger. It is so funny because I go, that's fucking brilliant.
Oh my God, I was like, this simultaneously, this is the weirdest and best thing. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, but you know what I mean. So there we're doing that, and it was still Tommy's Tommy, and again, I don't want to hammer him. I never knew who he was. Greg's the one that brought him. He just said this would be great if you guys could work together. Colossal to these icons like in Heat, Pacino and De Niro finally on screen. But he really had a lot of demands, and he was very, Tommy-ish. And again, he was worth every penny, like you said. I think they knew what they were doing. Just let the camera roll, and the rest is gold.
So that was pretty much just all Tommy.
Yeah, I don't know about the breaking up of the room. I don't know if he did that in his movie. Did he trash a room because I still haven't seen The Room.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
he's very good at trashing rooms. I don't know if Greg
thought, oh, this will be funny, let him do it again. But the girl sitting in the chair that's supposed to be dead, I guess, blinked a couple times,
maybe,
was from another famous movie that Greg told me about. That it was, and I'm like, I don't even know. I don't get it. Why the fuck is she? And I go, didn't she? I don't understand it. Was she alive? And so you know what I mean. Even I was doing the same thing like you guys, and he goes, oh no, it's funny. It's from this movie. Blah blah blah. He talks a little bit about on the Blu-ray, I guess, in the commentary. I don't know if you guys have seen the Blu-ray, but
yeah, we did. We did watch the Blu-ray. We have yet to watch the commentary, though. That was
okay.
The plan.
Yeah, I think Greg kind of touches it more about what he was thinking, but yeah, Tommy was let go on there, and then the sword battle with him and I. Of course, the outtakes are me laughing because I had circling him, just cracking up, going, I can't believe.
Oh, we were just watching it earlier, and we were laughing at how dead-faced you were the entire time, trying to face him down.
But it kept going on. I mean, the cameraman's going in circles, and I'm like, really? I'm getting fucking. What are you doing? This is dizzy. And Tommy's just yelling, I will not stop myself, but I will, but I won't. Some podcast guy the other day literally wrote down everything that Tommy's. I mean, if you write it out, it's hilarious. I mean, Greg's like, wow, you got almost all of it right. But listen, Tommy did exactly like you said, what we hired him to do. He was absolutely entertaining. That's what Tommy is. Now, whatever Tommy thinks he is, and, that fantasy, I mean, listen, the guy's got a movie over at Warner Brothers being made about him. My friends are over there gripping on that, the making of The Room and Tommy Wiseau's story. So you got to give him credit for as many years. And I know the movie was horrible. And yes, like you said, he still to this day acts like he did it on purpose. No, you didn't. You made a fucked up movie. And when I was over in Spain, the guy that did the documentary, I think it's Roomful of Spoons is what it's called. He screened it there for the first time. And I got so much, it tells where Tommy was from. gives you a little bit more background about where he got the money from. He doesn't dig up the body, but he leads you down to the crime scene. You guys can figure the rest out by criminal records and, LA and civil records. And you really find out kind of a little bit more about Tommy that he never wanted people to know, because it's not flattering, but it's also like, come on, dude, at some point, enough with the bullshit and just let people, we're in on it. And a lot of people protect, you know what I mean? He doesn't get it. And I still, to this day, it's like, come on, man, just, I don't know. He treats his fans a little different than I would if I was him. I mean, but anyway, that's Tommy and that's his thing. And so, like I said, he was worth every penny. And from the first meeting when I met him and he said, I'd love to do the sequel, but you can't kill me and I must kill you and do a sequel of my own. We're like, sure, whatever. I mean, that's seriously, but he wasn't kidding. And that's just who he is. And you just kind of go on with it. And that's why he doesn't die. If you look at the movie, when I cut him wide open, it's a beautiful, funny scene after that with his blood that just gushed out of him. And then he's still alive at the end. He just didn't want to die. So we accommodated that. We took away his stutter that you guys saw for many months on the trailer. And then he said, if you don't remove the stutter, I will not promote this movie and I will ban it from everything. That's where he starts being the bully.
Oh, wow.
So in the final cut, we don't have him stuttering when he said, love is a continuous stream, which is a Cassavetes line, I guess, also.
Oh, my God.
But he's a great guy. Like I said, I just don't appreciate the unprofessionalism and the way he treated Greg, but that's who Tommy is, and I guess he can get away with it. But he just has a lot of bullying tactics. He did that even with the Prince Charles in theater. If you show that movie, I'll never let you see my movie again. He does that, and people bow down to him. And what they need to know is you stand up to them and say, fuck it, we're showing it anyway. Tommy will not pull a movie. He's a lot of hot air and threatens legal this, that. But the guy's made a fortune off this movie, and he's not going to stop that gravy train. So, But great guy, like I said. I don't know him. We didn't talk much. But I'm just giving you my opinion of him, where it's just like, come on.
I'm not surprised by any of this for some reason.
No, I know. But, here's what I hand him credit beyond belief. To make a movie, I don't care what it was, and it was a piece of shit. It's still a movie that everyone talks about. So you're better to be known for something than nothing. And it's like, just embrace it and stop acting like you're James Dean and you know what I mean? But you guys got me on a bad night. I'm venting.
Oh, no.
No, this is exactly what we're hoping for.
No, that's all right. You can air it. I don't care. At this point, it's like, whatever. We're on to Samurai Cop 3. I don't care.
Oh, okay. Good. Okay, so last question. We can just check that off now. That's going to happen. That's great. So working with some of the other talent on set, I know there were some other people who paid to get on set. There were some stars that were brought on board. Now, what was that experience like working with all these different kind of studs?
Yeah, those guys were awesome.
Word
like
choice.
I said, I didn't know Mel Novak, and Greg, of course, knew he was an iconic figure. I think Estevez was awesome.
Oh yeah,
playing the police chief in this movie, great energy. He brought it. He had no idea what was going. They just go, "What's this movie?" It's a sequel, but he really played the part and did well. All the other people, yeah, Greg basically cast. I know you guys had one problem with the Chinese guy that.
Oh my God!
and the story, to save Shane a little face on that, Greg originally Shane said, "I'm going to learn Japanese for this part. I'm going to speak it." So we get there, and the dialogue was so in depth. He's like, "Oh fuck, I can't remember." So Greg said, "Okay, just babble whatever, and I'll loop it later and put over some Japanese over you."
Oh
well,
my gosh.
Greg thought it was hilarious to just leave it and not let it. So he never thought in a million years that ching chow choo cha cha would even be used. And he was like, "Oh my God, are you fucking kidding me?" And Greg goes, "No, it's funny." And it's like, oh, so that was never planned. It was supposed to be real Japanese dubbed over.
That is pretty funny.
You know what I mean? So, but I mean, all these guys coming in, like I said, Caden Cross, Nicole Bailey, Bai Ling was amazing. She was a real I mean, I knew Bai Ling from the reality show where she was on the rehab thing. I know she'd done other movies, and I didn't mean to disrespect. I just go, oh yeah, I guess she'd be great. And Greg thought, oh, she'll bring in some fans because she's known and she's a reputable actress. But from day one and fight training and rehearsals, she just was kind of like, oh, I think you and I should have a love scene. And I'm like, well, we can. You're like my adversary. And well, no. I think really we should. So Greg's looking at me, and I'm like, okay, how about maybe we do like a dream sequence, and maybe, you fantasize about something, because that was to appease, and I'm not trying to expose and make her, you know what I mean? She just thought, oh, I want to have a love scene with you. And I'm like, that's very flattering, but it doesn't make sense in the story. But then, of course, that was not like the first movie didn't make sense when I had love scenes with people too. So, hey, why not keep with the... So Greg really shot that kind of beautifully for her, and it was lit well, and, you know, it was tasteful and whatever. So, you know, things like that. But she was a very... I don't know how to say that. It's not a union movie, but she had certain expectations that she expected, and I don't think she realized, hey, this is kind of a low budget. We don't have the hair and makeup and the wardrobe handy, standing by. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
But she was great at what she did. I thought she played a good part there. Like I said, Lexi Bell did her little thing. So everybody, I think Greg purposely tried to do like Amir, bring in just a different variance of characters. I know you guys thought the same thing I did. Like in the first movie, where's all the Japanese samurais? They're all white. They're black guys from South Central. So Greg thought, I think he continued this one by having white guys with Japanese names. I don't know if that's a little thing he threw in there for like tip of the hat to Amir also. But I agreed, you know, but that's where we had to decide, are we really going to make a good movie and make it that, or are we going to kind of stay in this universe of Samurai Cop craziness? And so I think he had so much leeway everywhere, and our fan base is so, you know, faction, just like the Katanas and the Ginzas. You know, everybody loves Samurai Cop for a different reason, and we knew there's no way in hell we're going to please everybody with what we come up with. But Greg, I think in the end, tried to do that with all the pieces he was throwing together. But, you know, originally, if you read that first script, it's really a cool opening, and it's a well-written script. And I thought, this is cool. I think they'll like this. This isn't what they're expecting. When we went to outer space, that was totally what I said no one's expecting, and I can't believe we're even trying that.
Well, I mean, that's kind of in the vein of a lot of B movies, like Moonraker or like the Leprechaun movies or whatever. You know, they always went to space at some point.
Did they? Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like I said, that was on him. And once again, I was just hired as an actor. I know, like you asked, were you a producer? But yeah, that's basically there. And there was some, I just wanted to do that because if I can be in 2 films that are distributed here in the United States, you get to be in the Producers Guild. And I said, oh, okay, I'll put on but besides my daughter's name to be on it. But again, that was just his way of bringing in all these talent. He just thought, let me just have a whole ensemble thing. It'll make it more fun. And, you know, some of the people couldn't come. Lazenby, I guess, couldn't come. He was ill. Mm-hmm. Robert passed away on the 3rd attempt to get him out. He almost made it twice, but he got snowed in Chicago. And that was another huge part of the movie that just got chunked away. You know, the 2 guys that sit in the office and they fight, and then he stands up and strangles him, and he's screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
Though they were Robert Zadar's sons in the original story, and there was a whole nother katana thing going on, but that all got thrown to shit, and then Greg just gave him a little part, and you know what I mean? So it just started to really fall apart slowly, but the clock kept ticking, and the finish line just kept getting closer and closer. So that's just, you know, he just kept moving forward, and we just threw shit together.
Yeah, well, to kind of, you know, circle back around to the original Samurai Cop. Now, what beyond what we kind of discussed a little bit already, now what other kind of parallels were between these 2 movies as far as, like, you know, production?
The one thing that I found interesting, because Greg, when he found, I don't know if you guys know the story, how he found Samurai Cop. He was shooting a completely different movie. It was in between takes. His lead actress went upstairs in this garage above a abandoned warehouse, and there on the ground were all these canisters of old movies, and she thought it was cool. Come up here, Greg, take a look at this, because he thought he'd think it was interesting. And that's where he saw 7 canisters that said Samurai Cop, and he went, what the fuck? This is the original 35 millimeter print. And then he uncovered all the rest of Amir Shirvan's movies, Killing American Style, American or Hollywood Cop, and some other ones. So Greg restored all those. He just recently sent me one of them, and I'm watching it, and what I'm finding interesting is that everything that's in the original Samurai Cop, as far as the racism, the sexism, is in every single one of Amir's movies. So the dialogue, the shoot him, the hey you, come here, hey, oh. And I'm thinking, oh no, now this is kind of taking, you know, what, even though people saw Samurai Cop, it's like Amir had already been doing that for 4 other movies before, that same style, but it got highlighted. So now I'm wondering, wow, if people watch this, are they going to go, oh my God, the same locations, the same restaurant, everything, Amir went back to the same place. And I didn't realize that filming Samurai Cop because I'd never seen any of his previous movies. But I think the main thread with this one that Amir had was, again, lack of money, because Amir basically fed the crew fast food. You know, it was Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, and he spent the rest of his money on film. the 35 millimeter back then. He didn't really pay any of the talent. He just said, no, you're going to see, you're going to get good footage, and this is how you will get a better career as an actor. So he didn't spend a lot of money on that. And of course, everything was shot during the day. He didn't have all that. But I think the main parallel is lack of funding. And unfortunately, you really have to have a good script. Amir didn't have one, and he wouldn't let us change anything, obviously, dialogue-wise, even if I said no. And he actually says son of a bitches in 2 of his other movies. So that's clearly Amir's. When I said, now I'm telling you son of a bitches, I said, Amir, if in America we would say, I'm telling you sons of bitches. He says, no, that doesn't sound good. Say son of a bitches. And I'd say, I know, but I'm telling you it doesn't. Just say, okay. So it was funny for me to see someone else in another movie say, hey, you son of a bitches, same repeated dialogue. And so, but yeah, I'd say lack of money is probably the biggest parallel. And Greg and Amir's both passion to make movies, no matter how terrible they may turn out, just to be a filmmaker. I guarantee you, if Greg had the right amount of money in the bank, he would make a really good movie. You can see Greg's style of filming. I know you said this movie looks like it had more anime, infusion, or it looks like somebody tried to make the samurai a little bit more Japanese. Yeah. And I said, well, the big clue is Hatanaka. Greg is Japanese, and I think he wanted to try to bring back a little bit more, because this movie's not popular in Japan, obviously. Maybe they feel it's disgraceful. But he really tried to want to make it a little bit more of a hero and it became a comic book more, the way it was shot, and so I don't know. I think both of them wanting to finish and make good movies, and obviously lack of money is a parallel there.
Do you think Greg's going to make another movie anytime soon, or will you work with Greg again on a different project? Maybe
I would love to. Like I said, he didn't get a fair shake on this. He didn't just direct it. He ended up having to be, like the babysitter, the dad, the caterer, the blah blah. So I think Greg would be great at directing music videos, and also movies. But I just think, again, you have to write a script, lock it, agree that's what you want to do, and then take a line producer and come in and break it down to cost, and then pad it with a little extra. Anybody that's watched Project Greenlight, I mean, that's what you need to do to make a movie. Mm-hmm. And you could do it for $300,000 or $5,000 or whatever. You just have to make sure what you have on the page can be made with the dollars you have in the bank. And if you don't, you're fucked, period, from day one. And that's where Greg found out on a big scale, because he'd made Blue Dream was one of his movies and a couple others, and he just had fun making little movies. This became way too big of even though it's super low budget and completely off the radar of Hollywood, it's still, for the audience base out there and the desire and the grand scope of what he wanted to do, he could not afford it, and realized that partly because of funding, like we talked about, that got yanked out, which really made a big difference. And then, just wanting to continue. But I think Greg would be, and I would work with him again. He doesn't want to be involved as a director in 3. I think he would rather just be an executive producer. I don't think he wants to be. And that budget's probably only going to be, like I said, $1.5 million, $2 million. And there's a bunch of people that have these great ideas of where they want to do it. That was part of the reason I went to Spain, and that could happen. But I keep saying, wait a minute, let's just make sure 2's out. Maybe they don't need a 3. Let's just slow down a little bit here. And I'm in no hurry. I live my life. I have a whole other way I earn a living, so I'm not looking to jump the shark, so to speak.
Hey, we'll watch it
and just do some shitty 3rd movie. If we do it, I just said it really has to be done right. And then that's where Greg says, if we do it right and it is a good movie, you might alienate that entire Samurai Cop fan base, because they don't want to see a good movie. Maybe they want to see more nonsense. But I said, I think there's a fine line of doing a good movie and, also appeasing the fan. Like, you guys had great ideas, and that's why I almost want to have this Project Greenlight project out there. Okay, Samurai Cop 3, everybody throw out your ideas and we'll see who comes up with what. And because we can get the financing now, because it is a tangible franchise, and there are people that have taken notice of it, especially here in LA when we screened it here. There's a lot of mainstream, just like Seth Rogen and James Franco fell in love with The Room. We have some other people that are at that level. Now, that's great if we can make that happen. I didn't realize until I went to Spain and had dinner. I was invited to a private dinner by Enrique Lopez Levine. he said, I found out about this movie. I was having lunch with a friend in Hollywood, and he says, oh, my God, you have to see this movie, Samurai Cop. It's fucking great. It's so bad. It is awesome. And the guy was Quentin Tarantino.
Oh,
man.
That's
awesome.
a major. I had heard rumors about that, but I never knew until Enrique told me. And now you think, wow, interesting mix there. Quentin loves 35 millimeter. He loves those grindhouse movies. He grew up kind of like we in the video stores in the 80s. So can you imagine, for me, even me as Mathew Karedas as an actor, if Quentin's like, oh my God, I have this small, tiny, itty bitty, stupid part in one of my movies. Would you like to do it? You never know where things could lead. So that's why I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Now, Quentin's not going to say, hey, I'll direct number 3. Let me do it.
That's where I was hoping this was going.
You can imagine if that happened, holy shit, what that would be. So yeah, I mean, it would be a big budget and it would be crazy nonsense, and you wouldn't even had to see the first 2. But you know what I mean? I'm just saying it's just weird. The people that have found out about this and wanted to be involved and said, oh, I think you should do it right. It looks like you guys, again, were hindered by money and you just threw something out. But really, I wonder what you could come up with if we really did, what Amir was trying to do with the first one, a good action movie. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know. I'm 52. Mark's, getting long in his tooth too, and I don't know if the fans really want to see it. I said it would have to be more, like I said, back to a buddy cop, the original. And then make it fun, really make it fun. When you watch these movies back to back, like I did in Spain, you guys even commented, it's 2 different worlds. It's hard to watch both of them side by side because you're coming off a comedic high from the first, and then you're into what's this? You know what I mean? But if you saw the second one without seeing the first one, you may have a different. You know what I mean? It's tough, like you guys said, watching them together.
Yeah, what I find is actually kind of fascinating is that each one of these movies is just like snowballing into a bigger thing, and that this might actually, like you said, the next one might have like a big budget. Like that would be awesome that it came this far and that it's
right,
continuing.
Yeah, to come full circle. That's why I said, fine, I think if we end it in a trilogy, but if we did it, it really has to be done. That would be the hook. People saying, okay, so-and-so is involved, or, oh, okay, now... it'll be worth it. Otherwise, you're just kind of, I don't know. I haven't seen any of these other Troll 2s and the Deadliest Prey
we've seen them all.
You know what I mean? All the Troll and all those movies. And first of all, who said that Mike Danton's body was better than mine? How dare you? It was Eric.
It was Eric.
Funny. In fairness, when we covered Deadliest Prey, I said yours was much better.
If you were going to do it, that's why I say me being Mathew Karedas, Mr. Perfectionist and everything, I said I'm not going to do it again unless it's really going to be good. But yeah, I think if you went out with a bang and a trilogy, sure, that would be the way to do it. But let's just get through.
Also, in fairness, we commented on how awesome both your bods were. I'm just going to throw it out there.
No, I laugh because people even said, because I think I weighed maybe 230, 235 back then when I filmed that, and then I was probably 180, I don't know, some wafy. But I never did steroids or HGH, which of course a lot of our celebrity action stars nowadays do.
Oh yeah.
And what happens as you get older, you'll lose muscle mass. I've always worked out for 31 years, so I've stayed very lean, but I just thought it's not important for me to be big and gigantic again, but so, yeah, and then, looking back again on that day when we filmed in the pool and Amir's like, you need to bring a bikini to match. And I'm like, what? Because I think because her bikini is very revealing. Come on, Matt, there's female viewers we'll have. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm Mr. Body. And I'm like, what a fucking tool. I'm just like, what? And singing in the bikini and happy birthday. And
that's awesome.
I cringed like everybody else on those days of... And that love scene that we did in the bedroom with Janice and I, what people don't know, Amir's right at the foot of the bed, just straight looking up at Janice. He loved the nude scenes in his movies, and he was just right there whispering off camera, and kiss her. And so we're doing it, but I'm like, this poor girl. And I was so protective of the girls, because they're the ones naked. And I'm just like, this is so bad. There's people just standing around But she was such a trooper. But even Melissa, like somebody said, with the dimple nipples or whatever. I mean, I knew her from, I met her when I worked with Sly. She came in an audition, but I just felt bad. And she just is like, oh, it's okay. I argued, why am I having a love scene with this girl? I'm supposed to be after this one. And now I'm in the bed with her and flirting on the helicopter. Hey, keep it warm. I go, what the fuck does that even mean?
Oh my
you will
God.
do as I say. This is my film, and I'm marketing, action and sex and nudity. I go, I know, but it's like a softcore porn. It's just we're in our underwear, dry humping. It's stupid. And that's why in that scene, you see me giving him nothing. I was so fucking angry. I'm just sitting there, and I'm just looking at her like, okay, hopefully this is shit, and he won't use it. But yeah, he used it. So I look like a fucking idiot. But believe me, every day we're just arguing, going, this is stupid. How is he talking to her in the helicopter? He can't even hear me. Say the line. Just look up and say the line. I go, she can't hear me. She's in the helicopter. He's in the back seat of the car. Matt, say shoot. Okay, shoot. Shoot him. Say it again. Shoot. I'm thinking maybe he's going to use it in another time of the movie. No, all 5, 7 in a row. Shoot him. So, I mean, it's just craziness that we were dealing with. But it was fun. But as a kid, 23 years old trying to get his first movie done, I'm just doing what he said. And in the end, I learned, sometimes you got to, I don't know. I still wouldn't take it back. They've asked me, would you do it again? And it's like, of course I would. I mean, I tried to pull some scenes that were good, but it's just, there was nothing. My acting was shit. I'm not blaming any of this on Amir. I mean, the words he wrote, but I fucking spoke them like an idiot. I mean, just like a machine. It was like, because he was so adamant. We only got one take, so I was more focused on reciting the dialogue rather than being in the moment. Like an actor. Again, I'm being inside the actor's studio, but that's clearly what I was doing. And what Samurai Cop should have been for me was that apprentice film where you learn. That sucks. That was bad. Let me get better next time. But to have that be my legacy, you're kind of fucked because that's the only thing people knew you about. So that's why in 2, I thought, okay, this will be a great opportunity for Mark and I to redeem ourselves. And I thought Mark did an amazing job. He is really a good actor. But I got stuck with Greg saying, now, Matt, I want you to make the crazy eyes like you did that first. I go, I don't want to do that. That was shit acting. That wasn't Amir. That was me being a shitty actor with crazy eyes. And make the growling teeth, show your teeth. And I go, I don't want to. So I had to pull back with the ego and give Greg, the director, I understand this is his movie, his vision. So I tried to pepper in some good acting when I could, which I think is good acting, compared to doing all the crazy nonsensical stuff that Joe, he kept saying, well, Joe, I said, there was no Joe. It was Matt Hannon, the bad actor. Amir gave me no character background. He said, the guy's from San Diego, action. That was it. So anything that you see, it's me being me. Of course, the only thing Amir always told me was he would always say, because he couldn't afford body mics after like the 3rd day shooting, so he had boom mics. And the problem is, if you and I are really close and I'm whispering to you, this is how I would speak with a body mic. But since Amir doesn't have it, he said, Matt, I need you to yell. I can't hear you. So if I start yelling at you like this, it's so overmodulated and sounds like shitty acting, even though it was shitty acting. You know what I mean? So, and he's like, talk lower like Sly, talk deep. And I'm like, I don't talk like that. That's Mark Frazier. He's got a low resin boy. So, you know what I mean? It's a combination of Amir wanting you to do something, me knowing I'm completely out of my range as an actor. If you take your 2 fingers, thumb and forefinger, spread them up just a little bit, that's my range as an actor. Even today, I get that. And I know people out there that have made millions of dollars making movies with I don't think I'm Leonardo DiCaprio, but I really consider myself a reality personality because of the cult world. But Chuck Norris made a fortune doing what he did, and Chuck Norris was Chuck Norris. He wasn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get where I can and what I can't do. So it was just, that constant thing that I dealt with Greg was, let me try to do something a little different or a little better or not so much in that. But, you get stuck with what the fans wanted to see. So I don't know if that worked. I think they see sometimes. But then it becomes all over the place. You see me doing nothing's in character. I really wanted Joe to be, according to Greg, more Rambo-ish. When you find him, he is very upset. He lost the girl he loved, and he's not going to show a lot of emotion. And then 2 scenes later, I'm laughing and giggling, and I just said, this is not the beats and the notes that I would want to hit as a actor 25 years later showing better work. So that's the ego you got to put aside and just kind of do what they want to do. So yeah, hopefully someday I could do something that's, in continuity from beginning to end and really some character based piece. But again, that's asking for, you just got to be thankful for whatever you got. So
yeah. So you just got back from, touring Europe with this movie and for the last 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
So what was the general reaction? I'm assuming it was a lot of positive reactions. Was there anyone out there who approached you with the antithesis of that, or have you had to deal with any of that from anyone in person because of this?
No, everybody's just really. It's funny to me because everywhere I went, especially in Madrid, there's a huge pocket over there of fans, and they it's just odd. Again, it's something hard for me to grasp. They a lot of people come up like it's like they're seeing Elvis, or again, some of them thought I was dead when they first screened that movie 2 years ago, and then when they all found out I was alive. So to them, it's surreal. They meet me in person. I'm much taller than they thought, or you know what I mean. And to me, that's odd because I'm just Mathew Karedas, the average blue collar guy out here working that did a crazy movie, but in that world out there, I get it. I worked for Stallone. I grew up watching his movies, and all of a sudden I moved to Hollywood, and then I'm working for him as a bodyguard. So I remember the first time that they said, "Oh, Sly's on his way in," and then I go, "Oh my God, I'm going to meet the guy." So I get that, but it's just odd for me to be doing that, even if this low, super low, horrible actor. I don't think in any way, shape, or form I'm an alien. You know what I mean? But it's odd for these girls to come up and they're just like, "Oh my God!" and they're shaking, or they want to take a picture, and it's like, "No, really, I'm just the average guy. Chill out." So that was interesting to see. But even they're over there in Spain, they caught wind, and on the local news, they made comment about the film festival, and then once they added the tagline "ex-Stallone bodyguard," it went national in all. But the headline was, and of course everything's in Spanish, and I asked somebody to translate, it says, "Ex-Stallone bodyguard here for film festival, worst action movie actor ever." And that was the title. So I'm laughing like, yes, that's true. What got the attention and everybody on the streets, it was the Stallone thing. You know what I mean? Because it's that name. You know what I mean? It makes everybody, "Oh, wait, who's this? What's this?"
Yeah.
Other than that, if they saw the movie or why I was there, they'd be like, "Holy shit, what a horrible man." You know what I mean? So walking down the streets, I had a lot of people that just recognized from local media because I had news coverage and their version of Entertainment Tonight following me around. And I had a Paris documentary crew following me around. And they had me in the middle of Madrid, what is equivalent to our Times Square, and they had me with the sword, and this is I didn't want to do. Here I am to show them. Pull it out and start waving it around, and there's cops there that don't know who I am, and they probably think I'm some nut. It's like, what the fuck? So it was just surreal for me to be there. But again, I love the country. They were very welcoming. The screening that we saw, Samurai Cop first, and then the second one, I've never been with an audience that had more fun. They yell at the screen, they shout things constantly. When the lion head comes up, they stand up and cheer. And so again, that's why the movie is so fun for me. Again, it wasn't supposed to be that. I get it, but I don't care. Whatever fun, and if I could be involved in something that brings that much joy, and I get it now, and I'm happy to embrace it. I know completely I'm an idiot in it. I get it, but it's still everybody's having fun with it. I mean, it's a different point of view than another person I mentioned earlier that had a room out there. So that was fun. And then UK also, when we went over there and the fan base there. So it's just, I just didn't realize that there's that many fans out there that just love this kind of movie. And like I said, I'm just really lucky to be a part of it. And I welcome all of it. And I never would have dreamed I'd be traveling the world because of that ridiculous movie and the wig I wore and all that crap.
All these years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And they all have the same thing. They want to know, what was with the wig and, why did you have that on and how did that come about? And like I said, if I took you to the time frame, and it was just one of those things where Amir had to finish the film. That's another parallel like Greg. He called me back in January, and apparently he had so much footage. You see how much I'm wearing a wig. I mean, it's like, really? You had that much left to film? What the fuck? I mean, seriously. I mean, and inserts where it's me for 2 seconds and the close-up is the wig, or the fight scenes. And it's like, and I felt bad when he was so upset that I cut my hair, but I'm like, dude, we finished 3 months ago. You told me we were done. But, that's the tenacity. Amir had to finish. He had to get it out there. And so I'm sure he was upset about it. Probably embarrassed. I've had dinner with his son since, and He said, Matt, believe me, my dad would just love all this. He would, are you sure? I mean, people make fun of the movie. And he goes, Matt, he spent $30,000 making Samurai Cop. He's probably made over $300,000 throughout the years selling it. I guess he sold it in territories back then in the 80s and 90s, and he made a good chunk of money. And that's what he did, even with his movies before Samurai Cop. So, but I said, I don't know. I think people being Iranian and they have a certain life and the way that they treat the women in the movies and the race, we see that in Amir's movies.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll see it probably more prevalent when Greg releases the rest of these. But I know that, Brittany made the same comment. Oh my God, every woman's either naked or, and that was just Amir's style. But I mean, it is what it is. And of course, the second one that played in Spain, you see me, like you guys said, I think Joe shouldn't have been, all the villains are women. So he's fighting and punching and kicking and killing women. And I was like, I mean, I didn't want to do like the first movie, like you said, it's kind of gross, like Roger Moore and whatever your comparison was. Who wants to have sex with this old fucking guy now? Or how is he so charming and sexually enticing? But I just thought, no, he should have been more of a flirt. I mean, that was what was funny.
Yeah.
But it wasn't supposed to be funny. That was Amir thinking this was the cool suave cop and he's hitting on everybody.
Yeah.
But they didn't like the violence. When he's hitting, they were yelling out, a man doesn't hit a woman, in Spanish. Because I'd say, what did they say? And he go, oh, they said a man shouldn't hit a woman. I'm like, oh, fuck. This is not good. But, and that's why I said it just takes on a different, they were into the fun-loving Joe Marshall fun guy. We sold every copy of Samurai Cop, but none of the two. I don't think anybody wanted because they didn't get it and they just loved the first one. So, but anyway, that's just the way it played out over there. Just a real fun, embracing. And I went to a lot of places because I love architectural history. So it was nice to see all that stuff over there. USA is such a new country over there. I mean, centuries old, the Queen stuff and all the pageantry and the buildings, the brick and the iron. It's just amazing architecture over there. So it was a blast to travel there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, I know you guys had said this too, that you were kind of on the same page as us, but I hope our reviews of your movie weren't too over the top.
No, I think they're dead on like, everybody else. But I just thought, maybe sometimes I should clarify, like I said, the cinematographer in our movie, there was, and this again, I defer, hopefully the documentary picks up on it. Chris Felucci, who was the cinematographer, I guess halfway through, Greg never realized it. He was purposely trying to shoot things poorly. Because he thought, that's what the first one was about. And it's like, no, we don't want to. Greg found out about this later when he would develop and look at footage and go, this is fucking way overexposed. What? Oh, well, that's because we wanted it to be. And he's like, no, we didn't. So there was that lack of communication that went on.
Wow. Okay.
The lion heads that we placed places, once was funny. I don't know if you guys caught all of the places that the lion head really showed up.
Yeah, we were picking them out as best we could.
Yeah, I mean, in the bar scene when I'm talking to the bartender and he's talking to me and I'm not listening to him, it was there. And then it was in Tommy. Any scene Tommy's in, it's there. In the fight scene when I first walk in, he's like, hi, Joe. There on the wall in his little den. It's in his little place when he's doing his harikari, killing some guy. It's there in the background. Obviously, the funny shot was Caden with it directly behind her in that shot. But even that shot, I guess he overexposed it or shot it so poorly, Greg couldn't even color balance. You know what I mean? So things like that, where when Greg first started getting into editing, he just realized, wow, this is so messed up. And that's where he started losing, this isn't going to be what I thought. But, like I said, you just keep going with it. And it is what it is. But no, your guys' reviews are funny. They're dead on. That's why I just said, when so many people are wondering what's what, I just thought it's so great to just be able to go down a Q&A and answer and just say, no, that was because of this, if they wanted to know, or maybe it's better not to say anything. I don't know.
Oh, no, I think it makes everything 10 times more interesting.
Maybe even worse. Like the chain dangling in the cave scene. When Mark comes up, that's Mark improvising. That wasn't written. And I'm just like, we were just cracking up going with Mark because we go, okay, Mark, you're kind of you're looking for me. And so action. And then Mark comes up on the train. What the hell is this? And he's busting up like, oh my God, this is hilarious. But that's kind of stuff, like I said, the magic that's a funny thing that just happens to happen, Yeah. There's so many things that went on in that movie. But you guys caught most of them. Like I said, the interuniversal treaty, I said, no one's going to get that, Greg. Why are we even leaving that in? He goes, I don't know. I guess we just have to leave it. And it's like, all right, whatever. I mean, it's just funny. But like you said, the music supervisor, there was no music supervisor.
Yeah. I mean, we truly do admire these movies, actually, so much so that we want to do a 24-hour viewing of The Samurai Cop, and for charity, of course. Just like we're gonna just watch this for 24 hours straight, and hopefully get some people in to watch it with us. It'd be so awesome as if we do organize this that you would watch it with us.
But that's so hard. Then I think you'd see it like I've always watched it, because I've always thought the movie was boring. Even when Amir gave me the only copy that I thought was ever out there, I would watch it and go, this is so boring. It's just so dragging. It's just horrible. Besides the horrible acting, it's just too long and it doesn't make sense. And like Greg did, you guys asked with the threesomes and all the nudity that we had in our movie, especially the way it opens. I was like, oh my God, I screened this in Portland, my hometown. My mom came and I'm like, how am I going to explain dry humping within the first scene? So I told Mom, listen, and I guess Greg said the reason he did that was because Amir, every 20 minutes in his movies, would cut to this random sex scene. So that's why Greg did what he did with ours, with Bai Ling and the threesome, or, I guess that's, again, Greg to talk about, but I just was like, I wish there was not this sex in it. I wish it would have been PG. We could have hit a different audience. But like you said, anybody under the age of 25 would not even get this shit. It has to be somebody that's a connoisseur of shitty movies that are so crazy that you just, pick them apart and go through them. And that's what I think is fun, because that's what you guys do and everybody does. Everyone loves to be able to just comment on stuff that's just ridiculous. And it's funny because everybody's dead on. And that's why this movies that are so bad, they're great, is a little clique of people that just love this stuff.
Yeah, I think it's all the things that happen unintentionally in these movies that make them so great.
Right. And then that's why, like you guys said, I hope they didn't do that on purpose because it's not funny. And it's like, no, that was really an accident. But you can't explain that to be, after the fact, because you don't want the cheap laughter or the token. But I just said I'd rather be honest and say, no, we really didn't plan on any of this. I mean, it was just, that's what we came up with, like the green screen. I mean, literally that day, we just kept parading people in. Oh, here's Jimmy. Well, what's he going to do? How about you and Mark are at the shooting range? And so then there's that green screen. And it's clearly a green screen. And I'm like, Greg, why the fuck? He goes, well, I guess we didn't shoot it right. Or, so it was just trial and error. Last minute, well, let's just get everybody in here that has paid to be in a scene with you. That fight scene with the girl, I'm just like, it's so random. Why are we? And he just threw it in and threw some music and, even all that psychedelic shit in the complex with the Willy Wonka fucking coloring behind me when I come out of this pod or whatever. It's just him. That's the best. That's what I could come up with. The big giant fish tank. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But, he had several choices to pick, and that was it. And I just thought, oh, my God, I don't know. But, I mean, it is, hopefully, like I said, let's hope the documentary, I'll check back with you guys once I see it and say, no, this will be good. You guys got to see this. I'd love him to give it out there for free, too. I'm like, don't even charge people. Let's just get it out there for free on download so that you can at least try to figure out. And then maybe the movie will have a different type of viewing, because people can see both after they've watched the documentary. I don't know.
Oh, we're definitely going to watch the documentary.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, it's 310 hours. I really hope they captured a lot of stuff. I mean, because I wasn't there a lot. I mean, every day or most of the time I was off. I would come to the set and I'd meet with the stunt coordinators and the fight trainers. We did have them on this movie, and they were serious and they really did work. And we had some awesome choreographed fight scenes. And I would get to set and they'd say, okay, Matt, come here. You got to learn 32 moves and you got about 20 minutes. And I'm like, holy shit. I go, I haven't even slept. And I mean, that's where my athleticism comes into play, because I couldn't remember lines because I don't know if my age or I was just so fucking tired. But so we would learn and we would rehearse and blah, blah, blah. And then we would get over. And by the time they lit everything and it was time to shoot, it's like, oh, we don't have time. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So really good fight scenes. Even the Bai Ling scene that I did with her in the end was a little bit more elaborate, and there was more samurai stuff. Because like you guys said, I'm not a martial artist at all, period. I told Amir that today. I go, I don't have any martial arts training. I go, I'm a bodyguard, and we've learned kind of like what MMA is today. We have certain techniques that we know. I know a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and I know some Aikido and some grappling, because we're basically there just to incapacitate attackers. We're not there to be an artistic form. Gerald Akamura is the one that, choreographed everything in the first Samurai Cop. And I just would tell Amir, I look like a fucking idiot. I can't do what he's doing. Just try to wave your hands around, so that's why I'm doing the Elvis Presley or the rock and roll hand, because I'm just goofing around, but it was just shit. But so awesome. These guys work with us, and there was really so many wonderful fight scenes that were, like you guys said, some of the stunt team that you see do the fighting, they're good. And anything to do with me, I do nothing that has anything to do with martial arts. I punch and kick. That's all I do. I'm a street fighter. And Greg said, well, in the first part of the movie, I don't want you to do anything that's aggressive. You're only going to do defensive because you forsworn violence. So I'm like, okay, I get that. But when I do start fighting, it's so brutal. I'm stabbing chicks and cutting them with fucking ninja stars. And it's like, this is so brutal. And he goes, well, I'm going to show the progression of how you fought it off. And then eventually, and that's where that whole goddamn samurai costume sequence came up. Because I remember showing up to the set on that day going, what in the hell? We were in front of a giant green screen. That was the other day. And there's two naked, completely butt naked porn girls standing there.
Tom noticed.
Oh, yeah.
And it took 3 hours to get that costume on me because it was 62 pieces and no one knew how to put it on.
Oh, my God.
And I'm standing there frustrated. We're going over past the time that we were supposed to be. Greg's hurrying me along, and he's like, okay, in this scene, you're yelling at yourself. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, because the samurai is representing what you are becoming, and you don't want to become that guy. You want to stay Joe Marshall, peace man. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So again, I'm just like, okay, whatever, I'll go with it. I am not you. So, I'm just getting thrown out into all these scenarios, and that's another parallel with, Amir. I'm doing shit like, I don't think I ever would agree to this if I would have known. But, again, they really did try hard, the stunt team and the fighting. We just weren't able to show any of it again.
Was there anything from the original script that you were bummed that got cut that you were really looking forward to getting done?
The opening sequence, I guess it was from a movie, an old Japanese movie called The Bodyguard, and it was a pretty cool opening sequence. I'm in this field. You just see the back of me, so you don't really see me. And that's when I got hit with a poison dart in the original script. It was a hooded figure, and that's supposed to be Caden's character, but you can't see it. So you see some wavy blonde hair coming out of the... So I get hit with that, and that's what's supposed to start the hallucinogenic trip or whatever. But it was supposed to open really cool and would have been a nice opening. Instead, he chose the reveal. I like the way the movie opened with Mark and I in the flashback picking up, and we went and bought some wardrobe that looked kind of close to what we wore in the 90s. But if you watch it again, I love the dude that was just standing there watching. I call him Shadow Man. If you watch the opening, there's a dude whose shadow is sitting on the wall like a Hitchcock silhouette. And it's just hilarious to see all this stuff that, again, we didn't realize it until after it was all done. But the movie opens fine. The scream, oh, fuck that scene. Originally, I'm in the park with Caden. She's supposed to pull up in a car when Mark and I are talking, and she walks up. He goes, oh, we can't really get a car this close to the police station. I'm like, oh, fuck. So here we are, improvise. Okay, you just walk up to him, Caden, and then you guys talk. Then the next shot we did, that was the very first day of shooting, was that scene. Then we went to Balboa Park, and we were supposed to be walking along in the park. And I can't remember what happened. Mark's there, and she's away from me, and then the guy comes up and shoots her. But anyway, he changed it to, all right, just sit on the bench. And this other kid's a Kickstarter kid. He's going to come up, and he's going to shoot her. And he goes, I want to do 2 shots here. Now, the original script had me... Same thing. She got shot. It was a different way, and I held her more, and I was going to try to do more. Of course, this is me being a bold actor. Kind of like the scene in, what's the movie with Brad Pitt where he was with the long hair and Anthony Hopkins and Aidan Quinn.
Legends of the Fall.
Movie. Anyway, There's a scene where his wife gets shot in her little carriage and he cries and whatever. So I thought, oh, this would be a good thing. Let me show some emotion here. But no, that doesn't happen. And he says, all right, just sit on the bench. She gets shot. What I want you to do is scream. And then when you scream, kind of cross your eyes and look up, and I'll hold it. And it'll be like a no, And I'm like, all right, I guess. But I go, that's not what I was wanting to do. So the sun's going down. We got 2 takes at it. And I'm just like, no. Once again, there's no playback Video Village on this fucking budget. So had I gone and looked at that playback, I would have went, oh, hell fucking no. I'm not doing this. Let's do this again. So we only had 2 takes. One was my eyes crossed and one they didn't. So he kept saying, let's leave the cross-eyed one in. And I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter which one you leave. It's the most fucking white teeth, dumb, idiot fucking shot. So anyway, but for the sake of the movie, of course, I was like, I don't even want that shot in the movie. But I'm thinking, wait a minute. If for the fans, I got to do it has to be there because it's just me looking like a fucking idiot like I did in the first one. So. But, those scenes, there's a lot that I guess that more stuff with Mark and I that just kind of got cut out. But I don't know. Like I said, I wish he would show the original script. I'm still looking to see if I have that one. It's a little different. And I think people might have, I don't know. I think you guys would have liked that version, but it's up to him whether or not he's going to put it out.
I'd love to read it someday.
Yeah, definitely keep my eyes open for that one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, just for the novelty of it, just like I said, with the behind the scenes, it's kind of cool just to see it without any, obviously I know Greg, there's commerce involved in show business. I get it. And there's time being spent. And he's like, well, why shouldn't I get a buck or two? I get that because he's trying to recoup whatever he spent on this fucking movie. It's slowly trickling in. And like I said, he's made money. He's got it in all the Walmarts across the country, and it's at Best Buy, but and it's on Amazon, but it starts out at 19, now it's down to 10, now it's down to 4. It's like, when do we just stop the pricing and just and that's why I've been at, even when I go places and they're like these conventions where people sign and charge for autograph, I just cannot believe that is even taking place. William Shatner is charging $20 to get an autograph or a picture. It just fucking sickens me. I'm like, anybody that comes to me and wants my dumbass signature on something, it's free. I mean, I cannot believe people, and I will never do that. I can't believe. I'm just thankful that anybody even has seen the movie and is even acknowledging that, hey, you brought some fun into my life because of this movie. That's enough for me. But I understand there's a business, and Greg's, obviously a distributor. And so that's what's tough. But I just wish that wasn't it. But that is what the business is. Everybody's trying to at least do something. No one's making movies for free.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Like I said, it was just Mark and I having fun again together. And it was, I really did it for the fans because I thought, they'll think it's fun. Mark and I kind of still look the same. And that's kind of fun. And let's see where we would be 25 years later. But it's Greg Hatanaka's vision. And like I said, if we do a trilogy, then we really got to go out with a bang and make it worth everybody's time. I don't know if any of these other movies like Troll or them, do they all do the same thing, sequels, and then they were shit? Or did some of them do a good job?
I think I think Troll is its own animal of a picture. But I know, and with Deadly Prey, they went and made a Deadliest Prey sequel, and they just stuck
Which
to
is
form.
Basically just Deadly Prey, like modernized.
But was it the same director at least? Or
Yes.
they
did.
have Amir. So I wondered if that mattered, that we changed, because this is a fan, basically, Greg, and what he thought would be cool to be a sequel in his mind. But these other movies I've heard, every time you try to make a sequel to something that's lightning in a bottle, you just really fall short.
Yeah, it's
and some
tough.
of the reviews of like, well, the movie sucks, but I don't know how you did it, but you kind of created something we never also thought would be. You might have done it again in another shitty way. So it's like, I don't know if that's a compliment to Greg or not, but.
Well, yeah, I'd say so.
Definitely.
It's mixed reactions. Like I said, some people were kind of on where I was like, that's not really where I was thinking, but it's okay. But I'm too close to it. So I really can't always make my comments or too jaded.
Have you ever considered making your own picture?
Oh, you mean movie?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone asked me, and then they said, because I've done so many interviews, they said, it seems like, and I did write a lot of the stuff to bandage the movie here. I like to do that. I mean, even with my own stand-up comedy, the difference is I write my own material, so I take full responsibility. When I go up on stage for 12 minutes or a half or whatever, it's mine from beginning, middle, and end. I'm responsible, and if it sucks, I take that. But here, when you're with somebody else, I don't know technical directing, so I couldn't say, I could direct it. but I do think that I could be a contributor and say, I do know what's funny, or I do know what I think works and what doesn't work. But so I don't know if I could take that on unless I had somebody else that really knows. Like the guy in the Room Full of Spoons, Tommy claims he directed it. And this guy is so fucking pissed. He's like, he didn't do shit. I fucking directed this movie. And that's why I said that documentary, if you guys get a chance to see it, Rick Baker did it. It's amazing. It's 2 hours long, but it really talks to each cast member. You really hear what was going on. And like, you know, Tommy maybe did the same thing. Here's what I'd like to do here. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what lens to use, but do this. And that's what that guy would do. So, yeah, I guess someday I would. It's no different, like I said, than the stand-up stuff that I've done, because I know what works, what doesn't, I think. And, of course, the audience will be the final judge.
Yeah.
But, eventually, like somebody asked me, would you, direct the third one because you have such a vision? I said, it depends on if I had the story and I knew in my mind what I want, and I can convey that visually to somebody to give it to me that way. I don't know how, to say, I need this lens and here's what I want to do. I could say, no, I think this is a cool shot. Give me an aerial shot with a helicopter. I want to swoop in and then come up on this and zoom here. Do you know how to do that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I got it. Okay, let's do that. Then it's up to the cinematographer to make it look pretty, because they're responsible for everything that you see. The director's doing the action part of it, but it's that cinematographer that's really important, because he really makes it. Colors or everything you see on that frame is his responsibility. So that's something I could look in a camera and go, yep, I like that. All right, that's cool. So I don't know what a director does. But yeah, I think the best position to be on a movie is a producer, because you basically call the shots. And you can override a director's, but again, you don't want to be in a movie. I keep saying again, I fucking hate it every time I talk. And again, but again, and again. But you really have to have one true line or direction that you're going to do something before you even get to the set. You can't have somebody thinking, I want to do it this way, or now we're here. No, let's shoot it that way. And it starts fights and arguments, and you start shooting two different movies.
Now, you mentioned you do stand-up. Do you mention anything about Samurai Cop in your stand-up at all, or?
No, and I always have to preface and clear that up. When I worked with Stallone, I met Andrew Dice Clay, and he's been a good friend. I used to go here to the Comedy Store and the Laugh Factory here in town, and I wouldn't consider myself a comedian. Comedians travel city to city and do the same shit. You know what I mean? They make a life out of it. I would put stuff together, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 12, and then go down and perform it once, and then that's it. And then I would go come up with something else, and then come back next week and do something completely different. Now, in the genre of comics in Hollywood, they get pissed off because, first of all, if you're good and the audience likes you, that's a threat, obviously, to them. And there's so much politics going on there. Yeah. When I would go in by myself to the Comedy Store, the manager would say, oh, yeah, I got a spot. You can come on at 2 a.m. And I'm like, I'm not going to do good material at 2 a.m. and have all you fuckers steal it and use my stuff. So I would stay away. I come in with Andrew, because he'd go down there. I'd go, hey, Matt, let's go down to the Comedy Store. So we walk in, and it's like, oh, hey, Dice, hey, how are you? This is my friend Matt. Hey, Matt, can I get you something to drink? I'm like, dude, you just told me to fuck off 2 nights ago. Don't start kissing my ass. So Andrew would say, all right, I'm going to go. Matt's going to go on before me, and then I'll go up after. And they're like, oh, sure, anything you want. So I'd get up in front of the main crowd. It's, 8 o'clock, prime time, and do really good, and then introduce Dice. Of course, we have 2 different styles of comedy. His is more like, suck my dick, and I'm more like, Seinfeld-esque or Cosby before he became Cosby. Storytelling, point of view, that kind of stuff. So Samurai Cop, I had a character, and I was going to shoot a HBO comedy special called Brian Machiavelli Time Served. And what I was going to do, because I'd been away for so long, and at my age, it's very rare to see somebody come, and it's like, this guy's good, but where the fuck has he been? So I said, I'm going to make this character called Brian Machiavelli. He's just paroled from prison. He's been gone for 25 years. That'll get all that out of the way for the audience. And then I just went into whatever. I talked about all kinds of stuff about, being in prison, how I got there, funny stuff. So it allowed me to segue back into, and I was just getting ready to start do that. And then Samurai Cop happened. So now I'm thinking, well, this is a weird twist. Even though most of the people out there don't know about Samurai Cop, I still could do that. So it's just one of those, do I want to go back now and do what I wanted to do? Because it was going to be a pretty cool special. And my whole thought process was, I'm tired of going out and looking to have somebody say, hey, this guy's good, or yeah, I'd like to do this. I thought if you just do it yourself and it's done and in the can, then you can go sell it to Comedy Central or HBO, or if it's as good as you think it will be. So it wasn't going to be that expensive to do. And then all that just kind of went to shit and got derailed when my 50th birthday, and 2 weeks later I put the video up, and then here we are.
Oh, wow, everything.
But no, I think it's fun. I like that genre of doing that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't say comedian, but I say comedy performances. No problem. But now I think I could go city to city. And a lot of times when I do my Q&As at all these premieres, I'm obviously doing some stand-up stuff or doing crazy, funny stuff, talking to people. But I don't know. Now I'm just like, let me go back to just being back in my cave hiding.
So there are no future plans to tour with Samurai Cop 2 in the United States anywhere? Maybe head to Boston?
We hit all the cities. It's been out. And then Greg, I think now everyone's just requesting now to do the double headers.
Oh, yeah.
They want to do 1 and 2 midnight screenings. But we hit every city, and I traveled all over to New York. And I think Boston had one in...
Did it?
Or not Boston. It was in Lowell, Massachusetts.
Oh.
I had some friends go, oh my God, this place is like South Central.
Yeah,
I don't know where it is, but they, so there was
pretty.
little pockets and places that it went and it played in these independent theaters. But this is the other thing about Greg. He never spent any money. He had no money to advertise. He had no money to put billboards up anywhere. So this has all been a word of mouth release, which is kind of ridiculous, but in some respects maybe better for the world that not too many people know about. But I think it would have garnered some, like when we were here in LA, we sold out every night for the week, and we had more people in our theater for the movie than Pan did. It had like 2 people, you know what I mean? In context, it's funny, but it was a little niche film that it was a big buzz and everybody saw it. But I think if it went, city to city and people knew and the fan bases said, hey, Matt will come and he'll be here. I don't mind doing that. I love doing that if that's something that people like to do. But, I think, again, it's up to Greg and however he wants to market the thing. But right now, everyone just keeps talking about, everybody wants to do 3. And I'm just like, all right, let's hold on. I'm not trying to be an asshole like, he's holding out. But I just said, let's really not jump the shark. I really think we still don't even know everybody's opinions. You still got to listen to you guys and everybody else, fans out there. And we always go to YouTube and look at anybody that's posted stuff there and just hear what people's thoughts are, and I think it still gets a high rating on IMDb. I don't know how that thing works. What movie are they watching? I mean, it was up to like an 8.2 for a while, and I'm like, this is crazy. So, I just don't know if everybody has enjoyed it as much. I think most people love the first one, but now if they can see both, it's fine. But, I don't know. Like I said, we'll just kind of see how this unravels. I just thought after I came back from the UK, that's it. That was the end of the big push, because we got we had the Spain premiere and then the UK, and then we've done all this stuff here in the US, every city that he took it, most of the big cities. But most people didn't know about it, unless they were really following what was going on.
Well, I don't want to take up your entire night here. So.
Oh yeah, listen. Once I get started, you could talk to me for 4 fucking hours. What else you need? I want to end this call where every question. And then if anybody asks me anything, I said you just got to tune in and listen to this podcast. All your answers will be there. I direct everybody to. Because I've done that with the 80spicturehouse.com, because when I first did that very first interview with them, I talked about my life before Samurai Cop, the filming of the movie. We did 1 hour of working with Stallone and me in and out of prison, blah, blah, blah. That was a whole other story. And then the movie. So I thought, all right, let me put it out there once and that'll be it. And little did I know, I just have to tell the story all the time here and there. But it's like I said, it's different fan bases. Red Letter Media and everybody, they all had their certain crowds. And so there's just always somebody new that hasn't heard stuff or wanted to know about it that just made it a better viewing experience. So I don't mind helping that way.
All right. Well, this is going to be fun for me to say, but do you have any final thoughts?
Nope. I spilled it out. The verbal diarrhea is over. I keep saying the 15 minutes is up. I said when I came back to town, all right, we're done. 15 minutes of fame over.
Well, not yet. We have second class.
But I just wanted to say I appreciate you guys, everything that you had said, and that's why I said I just wanted to reach out. I think you guys have funny stuff. I've listened to some of your other podcasts, and I think what you guys do is awesome. I think it's fun, it's entertaining, and I think everybody that's in this genre and listening to this kind of stuff, you guys have good stuff there. So
awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we really do appreciate that, and you reaching out to us and wanting to talk about Samurai Cop 2 and basically everything with us. Can't thank you enough.
No, it was my pleasure, and hopefully it enlightened you, and maybe now you'll go back and watch and catch something new this time.
Oh, we definitely will.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, and I guess we'll keep it warm.
Absolutely, yeah. The girls keep it warm, guys. Bingo, yeah. when things come up again, or if anything with that, I'll keep you guys. I'll shoot you an email or something, and let you know about the documentary or where some of that stuff could be seen, just so you can get some more info.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you
Please.
so much.
And
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Really appreciate it.
You bet.
So thanks for listening to Second Class Cinema. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/secondclasscinema. We're also on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, secondclasscinema.com, and followingfilms.com, and follow us on Twitter and YouTube.
Yes, do that.
Keep it warm.
And of course, thank you to Mathew Karedas again.
And thank you, Matthew.
Thanks, Matt.